Hello and welcome back to the Artifact Premier Tournament.
Hello.
I'm here with Ken, Hotbid, and Swim.
Yep.
And we are going to be looking at our feature match of Larsson versus Melo.
Ooh, an interesting start. So Melo is actually a friend and kind of like almost teammate. They kind of prepare for things together. So this is it's going to be a pretty interesting match just to start off. And again, all of our boys, including Yoel, are now 1-0, and we can get into the first game already.
Yep. And so we see the game has just started, and I would love for if Hotbid, again, you can ask the questions for our those of us who are
keep us in check, Hotbid.
That's
Okay.
right.
First, let's take a deep breath.
Deep breath,
A
everyone.
lot of things are going to happen.
Yes.
We get 7 rounds of Swiss, and we don't want to overwhelm people with information. I
Yep.
know you're just bursting at the seams with analysis.
There's so much going on.
Swim. But so this is a red-blue deck versus a green-blue deck. Can we talk quickly about what the color strengths mean and like why that's different?
So typically red and green are more like unit-based, and we'll potentially be able to go a little bit later game. Yoel obviously has the double Zeus deck that we talked about earlier with the 6 Thunder God's Wraths. So the big play point here is that Melo needs to keep his units out of death range on mana turn 7.
So if you hover over Thunder God's Wrath, that's a spell that he has 6 copies of, and it
Yes.
does 4 piercing damage to every enemy in every hero in every lane.
Yep.
So no matter where the Zeus is, he's going to be hitting pretty much every single hero on the enemy side.
Exactly, and you can play this off of Ogre too, since it's a blue spell you can play anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see there, he just used Compel. That chooses a unit for him, and that allows him to select a combat target and draw a card.
Yep. So in this case, the Ogre was actually killing the Bronze Legionnaire, but Hefeklumpen is choosing to deal 1 damage to the Mazzy because the Bronze Legionnaire is going to be dying next turn to the Ignite on that row, which will deal 1 piercing damage to it.
And Ignite is an improvement
Yes.
that is cast on the first lane that does 1 damage to everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
okay.
that's Ogre's signature card. So Yoel has 3 of them in the deck.
Yep, and you see in this mid lane here, the cards that Zeus has access to right now, or the blue hero in this lane, is the Better Late Than Never, which summons a melee creep into any lane, and the And One for Me, which is going to be good once we see some items coming on in the board, but it's pretty early on, and both heroes only have
Ooh,
small
that's
amounts of gold.
so that's Zeus's ability.
Yes.
When he casts a spell, he hits his neighbors with piercing damage.
Yep.
So
So anytime a blue spell is cast, in this case he casted that that previous card there, which you can hover over here, Better Late Than Never, and that triggered Zeus's passive ability to do 1 piercing damage to each of his neighbors.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of that because there's 2 Zeuses in Yoel's deck.
Yep.
So for those that watched at PAX and saw some of the standard decks that were played, these players are going to be playing a lot faster.
Yes.
So that's why everything's kind of accelerating, and it might be a little more difficult to follow. But I think what you need to look at is the top left, the scores and the heroes, and what's coming in and what's not. And that's how you follow who's winning and who's losing.
Yep. You can see the mini-map, as we'll call it. These are the heroes that are currently in the fountain right now. Check marks mean that they're going to be deployed in the next round. And if it's a -1, that means it's going to be the following round after.
So Yoel right now only has 1 hero on the board.
1 hero on the board. Just
Yep.
the Ogre in the first lane. And he will be deploying a Zeus, and he's going to put that in the mid lane right here.
And this is a pretty typical weakness of blue as a
Yeah.
color. They have
Blue's,
very powerful board clears, but their squishy heroes mean
Yeah.
they'll often be dying and coming back very commonly.
Yep. You can think of blue heroes. It's your archetype in this game for like a mage class.
Yes.
Very squishy, but very powerful cards that can essentially take down or wipe down a whole lane, or, as we've seen with Thunder God's Wrath, that's going to do 4 piercing damage once Yoel has 7 mana. Right now we're at 5.
Yeah, and the fact that heroes come back in 2 turns anyway does, in a large way, help to kind of like mitigate the fact that they're all so squishy.
Yep. Unfortunately, this Ogre is getting a lot of hate. Both the arrows from Yamoy and Mazzy are actually hitting this Ogre for 9 total damage.
Yep.
Can you tell us what this Yamoy hero is?
Yamoy is a basic blue hero, so it's kind of a filler hero that you didn't have to draft.
And you can just put it in your deck anyway, even though you didn't draft it.
Yes.
That's right.
And every color has one.
Every
Yep.
color has one.
Yamoy, Debbie, Keef, and Farvran.
Yep.
And you can see one of the Farvrans actually in Hefeklumpen or Yoel's deck as well.
Melo puts down the Legion standard bearer, and that is going to give allied neighbors 4 attack. So there's no chance
this ogre is
this
out of it
ogre
entirely.
is going to survive.
But specifically, this represents a major threat. Next turn, now that this ogre is dead and these arrows are going forward, this tower is threatened on a lot of damage.
Yep, we see if this is going to remain unblocked, that's going to be 17 damage to Yul's tower.
One of the biggest threats here is Melo actually has Satyr Magician as well. Let's go ahead and hover that. This is a very, very powerful drop. You might have heard Yoel mention he has 2 of these in his decks as well. And basically, you can use this active immediately after you play it. So we're going to see Melo do that if he wants to refresh his mana. And every turn, he's basically
You can
playing
do it every
with a double
turn?
mana pool.
Every
Yes.
turn, as
So
long
he
as
has
that's alive.
well, 5 mana twice, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So there it is again, and you will see that happen every turn. It's a major threat to like have to be killed, and hopefully you might see Yoel play a remote detonation next turn against it.
Yep, remote detonation does 5 damage to each enemy across from an empty combat position. So in this case,
Is
if
that
it was
Techies
played,
on the art?
It is Techies.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I wonder if we'll see Yoel intentionally not deploy very much mid to try to play for the remote detonation on this lane, because it could threaten the Prelix as well, which is very powerful.
Ogre Corpse Tosser. Every time a melee creep dies, he's going to do 2 piercing damage to the tower. So right now, there's 2 creeps dying. That's going to be 4 extra damage to Yul's tower here from this creep.
Yep. Got Keen
The
Folk
gun.
Musket.
The gun. Beastmaster with a gun. Who would have thought? He's going to maybe take down this creep to 2 health, and that would allow the melee creep here to finish it off.
Yep, I like this play.
And if he casts the remote detonation next turn, and he kills those 2 creeps, the Corpse Tosser will deal more damage to his tower.
That's
Yep,
right.
4 more in total.
Oh, creep fight. in the
Creep
right
fight.
lane.
In the,
So here we getting to deploys. Deploys are going to be like probably the most impactful decisions you can make in Artifact. A turn like this where you're Yoel, you have 3 heroes coming down, you got to think about where exactly you're going to put these. You got to take a lot of things into consideration.
So he's sacrificing mid lane.
Yes,
Yep.
it looks like it. Or maybe trying to play for the remote detonation. This is a very sweet remote detonation if you can get this off first.
If he does get the remote detonation, he's still going to, like you said, take that 4 extra damage from the Ogre Corpse Tosser from those 2 heroes, or 2 creeps dying.
Yep.
But still going to save some more time in that mid lane. Right now, this first one being placed in front of Mazzy means this Farvin is going to die.
Oh, that's a
But-
really good drop. So what Yoel is really trying to play for is the Thunder God's Wrath.
Yes.
Like, he's trying to hit turn 7 and just go off, right? So if you can play a Satyr Magician now, then on turn 7 left lane, you keep the Zeus alive with his Revdal Signet Ring, you play Thunder God's Wrath twice, and you have a team wipe opportunity. The Sven's going down to 8 on this turn. If you kill all 5 of your opponent's heroes in one play like that, you usually win the game off of it.
Yep, we're going to see. He's going to go ahead and develop that Satyr Magician.
And there's no way for Melo to actually kill it here. All he can do is try to keep his heroes out of death range here. But this Corrosive Mist that Yoel has in hand right now, he can't use it now because of the Revtil Signet Ring, but potentially next turn could represent the Thunder God's Wrath being able to kill these other heroes.
So right now, who would you say is leading?
It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, Melo has the really dominant mid lane, but I think with Yoel's hand, Melo might just lose to these like double or
And-
even triple Thunder God's Wrath.
And this
Yeah.
is what happens with blue, right? Usually you're not winning the beginning of the game, but
Yes.
you'll come back kind of later on in the game.
Exactly. That's exactly right. When you see blue, you're going to have to kind of try to force more pressure than you normally would otherwise, because they will have scary late game options.
That's right. And with the turn 7, or sorry, mana 7 is going to be Yoel's pretty much power curve right here. So we'll start to see, hopefully, a nice team wipe.
Yep. This is going to be a big remote detonation, by the way. We're going to see
Yes.
this roll in the barrels, and this is going to devastate Melo's mid lane. The Prelix is going down. These 3 creeps, including the Satyr Magician, are going down. The creep in front of Zeus will go down.
What's he
to
thinking
Zeus's
about?
Passive.
Is he-
Yo, cast the spell.
There it is.
Oh,
Remote
the little
detonation.
lines.
And this nukes everything.
Nice. And he gets the
And the
proc from
proc.
Zeus, yes. Should have waited for that, though, right?
Well, that's what Yoel was thinking of. There's this interesting play where you can pass.
Oh,
and
down
then-
to 1.
Yeah, down to 1. So if you're Yoel, you can pass there and see if Melo plays the Piggy versus the Beast.
Yeah.
And then if that happens, you take the remote detonation. That's very powerful.
But
But if
If he
Melo
just
calls
passes,
that,
then
yeah, exactly. You lock yourself out of the round because when both players sequentially pass, the lane ends. And that's something that good players will do. They'll see that you're waiting for something, and they'll say, no, I'm not going to let you get that off. I'm going to pass till shut us both out of this round.
Yep. And you can see there too, Yol could have played the Savage Wolf to start developing it there in that last lane, but he is going to save initiative
He wants
instead.
initiative,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
He's
This
going to
is it.
double. Oh, are we going to see a multicast Thunder God's
We
Wrath?
might.
I really hope
Is this
so.
gonna
That'd
happen?
be big. This is going to be very,
Ogre
very
is going
big.
to that
All
first
right,
lane.
so he already has 6 of these in his deck.
Yes.
The
He's got
Thunder
2
God's
Thunder
Wrath. He's
Gods.
going to get more.
This is-
Potentially.
This
I
is-
believe in his
massive.
RNG, guys.
25% chance to put a base copy of that card
He's-
into your hand.
He's got the Satyr Magician. He has the mana for both Thunder God's Wraths. If he refreshes it, Melo needs a way to be able to stop this from happening. He doesn't draw it. Melo has nothing that will stop the second Thunder Gods from going off. We're
Oh,
going to
boy.
see it double down. Melo has no healing in hand either.
And
This
he's
kills
gonna kill
Mazzy right
that,
away.
yeah.
It kills the Beastmaster right away. Prelix is already dead in Fountain, and there's a second Thunder God's Wrath.
And the
my
Zeus
God.
proc just
Oh
takes
my
out that
God.
Jamoy.
Sven is at 2 health. Now, Melo can town Portal Scroll it, and presumably he'll have to after Satyr refreshes the mana.
Yeah.
Man, there is just nothing Melo can do
Yeah, but
against this.
if does he want to do that because he wants him to cast the second Thunder God's Wrath, right? Like,
He might not mind it at this point in time.
Yeah.
At this
There's
point,
only
it's
one
not
hero.
very valuable.
It
yeah,
does.
I don't
it
even
does-
think he's going to cast it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can play the Keenfolk Musket if you're Yoel. You can play that anywhere, and that's active. Will allow you to deal 2 damage to clean up the Sven. I think if Yoel either plays the Musket or refreshes the mana, you might see Melo TP his Sven just to try to keep it alive, because you need hero presence.
He could shoot the Sven with his gun, right?
Yes.
Yep, that's right. He does have to equip it first.
Oh, so
as
he'll
one
equip
action.
it, and then in response, Melo will probably TP
TP.
him out.
Yes.
I see.
Because Melo's looking very bad. If you look at the upper left, you've got 3 heroes with that -1. That
'Cause-
means that they're out of commission for 2 full turns right now.
So like when you refresh, that counts as an action,
Yes.
and then they
Yes.
can kind of okay. So
Yep,
he's
and
in
there it is.
response.
There's
He's
the
taking
TP.
him out.
He's scared of that second Thunder Gods or something else happening to his precious Sven.
And he can't. Can he save the Zeus?
He does
He
have
can?
the healing salve, which will heal the Zeus up outside of lethal range. You can also
So-
play Dimensional Portal.
Yeah. Once he gets healed, you won't see the X on him anymore.
That's right.
Because Zeus's maximum health is normally 7, but it's increased because of the Revtil Signet ring.
That gives him
Yes.
+4.
So his maximum health is 11 right now.
Yes.
So
Yep,
he'll heal
or
to 10.
Yep, and I'd love to see a Keenfolk Musket on the Zeus, specifically sniping down that Troll Soothsayer as well.
When so when you're playing Artifact and your opponent no longer has heroes in the lane, you just feel pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just
for
means they
sure.
can't do anything, right?
Yes, you're basically having your way with their board, and, you know.
So
Melo
right
has
now,
no
Yoel's
choice
just
but to
having a
pass.
grand old time doing whatever he wants, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, he didn't get any of the Ogre procs for both those spells he casted.
Yeah, it's
But, you know, it's
Yeah.
still looking pretty good for Yol right now.
Yep.
He does lose
so
this
he
mid
lost
lane.
the mid tower.
Yeah.
Yep. So Melo only needs 1 more tower to win the game, but with all these heroes being dead, no pressure on either of the other 2 lanes, and Yoel still might draw into like a second additional Thunder God's Wrath.
Yep.
Yoel's looking in a very good spot here.
And that Savage Wolf, one of the best creeps in the game.
It's very good in
It,
drafts.
it gets look, it's 7/6
yes.
after 1 turn.
Yep. At the end of each combat phase, it gets +1 attack and +2 health. So
Basically, your
slowly
opponent will
grows,
need to
yeah.
kill it fast, otherwise it does get out of control.
And that is the signature that comes with Lycan, by the way. If it wasn't obvious.
Yep. And Melo's got 1 turn with 2 heroes before his other 3 come back, and he's got to keep them alive. This might not be very easy. I mean, Yoel could draw another Thunder God's Wrath and just kill the Prelix again before it can do anything here.
Yep, and it's hard for Melo in his deck in particular, this red and blue, to have any direct damage to stop either of these blue heroes for casting those spells.
Oof.
The double ignites taking effect there. You see the piercing damage doing its work on all the units here.
It's a very powerful Steel Reinforcements. That's Mazzy's signature card. It's going to give Melo's tower here, left tower, +1 armor.
He didn't get the proc again, so he didn't get the
The Ogre proc, nope.
yeah.
We're
I
not
was
seeing the
looking for it.
infinite Thunder Gods, unfortunately.
But he can kill that ogre with his tower barrage, right?
Yeah,
Well-
Tower Barrage normally wouldn't kill it because it doesn't deal piercing damage, but it will trigger Zeus's passive, which does deal piercing damage, and that will be enough to kill it. There it is, just as you can see.
Oh, that's voice line. Zeus is a bit of a
Hothead.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little arrogant
It's a little
there.
toxic.
So it's looking rough for Melo. He's got 3 deployments, which is
Mhm.
huge, but he still needs to take one of these outside towers, and both of Yoel's other 2 towers are at very high health.
It's going to start putting barracks down here, which is the signature card for Prelix. That's going to put an extra melee creep in this lane each deployment phase, hopefully chumping some of the damage here so that it'll be harder for Yol to take it.
There's that ventriloquy coming in hot, and that's exactly what you want when you've got heroes like Prelix. You've got Jamoy to kind of say, oh, the curve on the wolf.
25% chance for that arrow there to curve over, and so Prelix.
That's a feels good.
That's a feels good.
That's a feels good.
That's a feels.
That's a
great.
good boy. That
Yeah.
wolf is a good boy.
Good boy. Give him a treat. Yol doesn't have too many cards now in hand.
Yeah, because every time you place a unit, it has, again, 50% chance to go forward, 25% chance to go to either side. So that was a 1 out of 4. He hit that hero.
Yeah, he hit exactly what he wanted here. Now it's time for Melo's potential comeback. 3 heroes deploying, and he's deciding to just abandon left lane in its entirety. He's scared of the big scary blue spells. Heffalump still might draw some. Got initiative on Melo here. You can see in the upper left it says initiative on the player that has the initiative on their side.
Yep. Initiative is now on Melo's side.
Ooh,
right?
there's another one.
There's another Thunder God's Wrath, 1 of 6.
Well, doesn't even need it.
Yep.
Kills that Sven right away.
Thunder God's
He's
Wrath.
got to do it, right?
You've got to do it. You've
Yeah.
got that chance at multicast. Talk about 25%.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is he cast them 3 times, didn't get it. So
There it
that's
is.
how percentages work, right?
Of course.
Coming in hot. Here's the multicast. Misses
No,
it.
Ogre,
No.
please.
That's
No,
a bad ogre.
That's a bad ogre.
What's he
That is a
doing?
bad ogre.
He cast 4 of them.
Yeah. Sometimes you gamble and
And I
Oh,
love
shoot.
this play by
Yeah.
Yoel. I love this so much. I was about to say this. So,
It's a
Yoel's
really bad
taking
ogre.
the play to kill his own hero. He realizes he's already won this lane. He's
Yeah.
going to send his Zeus back to the fountain where it can respawn in 2 turns. It's basically a very expensive TP scroll, but one worth taking here because you've already won left. I love this play.
I have a
Yep.
question for you guys. Since Melo put all his heroes on the right side, couldn't Yol just kind of go middle now? Is that something that he could do?
It's something that you could do. However, if you do that, you're not attacking and defending at the same time because Melo is kind of storming down right, and the right tower for Melo has 18 health, whereas Melo's mid tower, if you look at that, actually has a lot more. It's got 30. So Yoel could potentially try to do that, but you're probably looking at just fighting for right lane here.
And what is that card in his hand, Shiva's guard? What does that do?
gives 2 armor to the equip hero, and then it has an active where it modifies a unit, any unit. You can just choose it. Oh, I love this. I was thinking about whether he was going to play it.
Yep. The corrosive.
So he
So-
got rid of all
He
the.
got rid of all of their items, including
then
your own.
And then he's going to
equip
use the
Shiva.
Shivas.
Mm-hmm.
And modify means it just they're
permanent.
permanently, even if they go back to the fountain, they're permanently minus
Yeah.
2.
That's right.
So presumably you would use that on the Mazzy and the creep to her left, as well as the Jamoy to her right. All 3 of
Okay.
them will be permanently
So now they're all.
-2.
So that creep has 0 attack.
Yes.
It's just doing nothing.
Basically. It represents
a
like
body.
defender.
Oh
yes.
yeah, and it blocks. That's right.
And then Yoel's using the Red Mist Maul. You can hover it there, and it basically gives you Siege, which means Siege is a mechanic, which means whenever you attack a creep or a unit in combat, you will deal Siege damage to tower. In this case, 5.
So this is good creeps for Yol.
Yes, actually. And
Because
he's got the
he wants his creeps to go right because he's fighting for the.
Yeah.
Just
And-
13 health left.
And the creep spawns are they can go into any of the lanes.
right is the lane that's going to matter here. Now we've got more Thunder God's Wraths in the deck. 3 draws from Yoel, including this Potion of Knowledge. Let's see if we can find one. There's one.
There's one, yeah.
Will this kill anything off the bat?
So we'll kill. Can go over to that lane. He's going to draw a card with the Potion of Knowledge first, just to see what he gets.
There's
But
the Thunder God's Wrath.
we'll see
It's
who
coming
this
down.
kills.
Hitting 3
Kills
heroes.
the
Beastmaster
Beastmaster.
dies. Jamoy dies. Mazzy lives at 2 health. Mazzy
Oof.
right now is Melo's saving grace.
Oh, and
Oh my
finally,
Thunder gods.
God.
Ogre
And
just needed a
that's-
shoot
That's going to
Zeus.
be devastating. That is it. The Ignite for, effective, useless potential Ignite, it does not matter because it's going to pass back to mid, and Yoel has the Zeus mid for the other Thunder Gods to completely wipe Melo's board.
Yep.
And
There
Melo
we
Melo's
go.
is gonna. With Ogre's proc, by the way, he can see that
Yes.
Ogre has multicasted that Thunder God, so he
Yes.
knows that Yol has the win condition in his
Didn't
hand.
he quit out before he let him
Yeah.
do
What do you
the
think
thing.
about that?
I don't like that. I think you should let your opponents
Yeah.
cast their spells.
You gotta let 'em have
Melo,
their
what are you
fun.
doing? Let him hit the tower. Get the
Yeah.
win button. The blue victory button. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about when we had Yoel on the couch. We were talking about his deck: 2 Zeuses, 6 Thunder Gods, plus like the Magician, the Satyr Magician to refresh. That's how Yoel's deck is going to be winning its games.
So to preview this next game, guys, Yoel's deck, pretty weak in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
Once he gets to the later game, he has this goat, apparently, that refreshes his mana.
Yeah, mana
And then
goat.
he just multiple casts Thunder Gods, kills all the heroes, and then hits the tower. That's
that's
his
exactly
plan.
right.
So at the very start, it's going to be important to see how Melo can try and take a tower really early or try and beat him up early on.
Melo's got to go fast because you have to basically win the game before that combo comes online, and then try to keep your heroes online.
So Yoel's on the right there.
Yep.
Looking very serious despite crushing him that game.
And this time we're going to be watching from Melo's perspective.
Melo again with the red and blue.
Well, from both their perspectives. I mean, we see all the cards, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But down in the bottom here, looks like the flop is relatively kind
That's
to
not bad.
Yoel.
Yeah. You don't want your Zeus taking damage. He's
Right.
3/7. He's a wuss.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to hit stuff.
Yeah, he wants to just
Yeah.
survive to tone.
Yeah, your Beastmaster, you want that hitting the Zeus. But unfortunately, Zeus living for Melo.
So Melo's basically, he's got to develop this Prelix and keep it alive. We see Heffa has a pretty late hand. You know, you've got a Thunder Gods and a Thunder Hide already, which is going to be a little slow. That's good for Melo. Melo has kind of the hand in the situation he wants. We can also talk about the Friendly Fire in Melo's hand. He's not going to be able to play it yet, but at the 6-mana turn, this will enable him to kind of force two of Yoel's units to battle each other, which could represent being able to kill two things at once.
That's right. The Tower Barrage too, being a okay answer to a wider lane, although the Farvin, the passive effect on this basic hero card, is going to be providing armor to neighbors. So you'll see here that Ogre gains 1 armor, and this creep has 1 extra. And Tower Barrage doesn't do piercing by default, so that is not going to kill off any of these.
And we see Yoel draw his
you'll
mana
see
goat
that
there.
this
Steel reinforcements. What does that do?
So this gives your tower +1 armor.
Oh,
So you'll
that
see
creep that's hitting the tower is actually doing nothing.
it's doing 1 damage.
Oh, 1, because it gives 1 armor. I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Same with Ogre. Ogre is attacking for 3, but is only doing effectively 2.
Yep. Each individual attack gets absorbed 1 point of it. The Compel is going to be able to redirect the Beastmaster into that Zeus. Yoel has nothing to do about this at this time, unfortunately, so he will have to just let his Zeus die. And this is the start Melo wants. This game could go in a very different direction.
And Prelix is safe for now, which is exactly what he always wants for Prelix. The longer she stays alive, the more she can trigger that passive effect to bring a melee creep into the lane she's in.
Yep.
So that 3 armor Mazzy, pretty tanky.
Very tanky, yeah.
Just doesn't die. You need that piercing to get through the armor.
Creeps basically do nothing to her, or him.
Wait, so why are all 3 of the creeps going mid?
So, Prelix has that ability we were talking about where a melee creep.
Oh, so they get
goes
an
into
extra
the lane.
one.
So she gets an extra one. But it just so happens, of the 2 random creeps that go in the deploy stage, they went into the mid
There's
lane.
a party.
It's a
You
party.
get on
yeah.
there.
And Zeus wants in on that party because he's got that passive for doing damage, piercing damage, anytime a blue spell is cast.
So Melo's going to want to use Tower Barrage on the right lane to clear it up a little bit. That's why that Jamoy headed there. Left lane's not looking too good for Melo. He might have to kind of give it up here. But giving up a lane with steel reinforcements is pretty good. We were talking earlier about like the risk of giving up a lane too much, right? Sacrificing it for too long gives them ancient potential, but steel reinforcements helps slow that down.
Yep, once again, that's Mazzy's signature card here. So there's 3 of these in Melo's deck right now. So Sven's going to have a gun here to shoot down perhaps this creep, prevent some damage. That's the only thing on the board right now that he can kill, since the Keenfold Musket does only 2 non-piercing damage.
Yep. So the Keenfolk clears up that creep, as you said. And we're going to have to see if Melo decides to play a Hellbear Crippler here. I think I'd actually like to see him sacrifice this lane, but at the same time, there's not necessarily too much of a downside to playing it.
Yep.
Ooh, and I love this play by Yoel. The end 1 for me copies an item equipped by another hero, copies the Keenfolk Musket from the Sven, and then uses it right back at him, picking him off there. So now Melo has just no choice but to sacrifice this lane.
Yep. Even though there's the steel reinforcements, that does block some damage. It's going to be a slow grind, but eventually that tower might go down if he doesn't defend against it.
Yep. And I like the Hellbear coming out here. You've got the battlefield control as well. You're going to want to use that to redirect your creep or your Prelix into that Zeus. Probably the Prelix.
Because you want that Zeus to die so that he doesn't have he can't cast this stuff next turn.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Although Yol does have a Traveler's Cloak, so if he chooses, he can equip that onto Zeus to
He's gonna
keep
do
him
it.
alive.
Yep. You do.
Why not, right?
You might
might
want
want
to
him
keep
to die.
this Zeus alive. At the same time, you look at kind of the turns, right?
Mhm.
We're on mana 5 right now. If he dies, he's guaranteed to come back right at the Thunder God's turn. Keeping him alive one extra turn actually
So because
risks
he's
him.
dead, he's dead for 1 turn, then he comes back
Yes.
on turn 7.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
So sometimes having your heroes die in a timely manner, instead of keeping them alive and risking them dying in an untimely manner, can actually be a strategy you employ.
He's thinking more turns ahead.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'd love to see this battlefield control. He's actually going to kill the Lycanthrope instead of the Savage Wolf there, though. It's a bit of a risky play. The Savage Wolf, as we mentioned earlier, will grow out of control every turn.
So what's happening on the board right now? Is Yol has Melo done enough damage in the beginning of the game to slow him down?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Melo has a good standing mid, but he's also maybe a little overcommitted mid. Melo's biggest obstacle is going to be taking right now. Melo has given up left, taking mid, and he needs to start putting more pressure in right.
So you think Yol's gonna kind of roll him over when he gets to mana 7, 8, 9 kind
I
of?
think so. There's no way he doesn't draw a second Thunder God's Wrath by that point, I think. He's got a lot of draws coming in. Still hasn't drawn the second one.
Yep. On top of that, he also has the Thunderhide pack coming up on
Dude, that imp
mana
is
8.
so sad right now.
Yeah.
He's
There's nothing there.
worried.
Yeah.
Look at his face.
At the
He's
same
so
time,
sad.
this is exactly
breathing.
It's what Melo wants. You give up one lane and you drop a steel reinforcements there. Like, I love what's happening on this left lane for Melo. You've stranded 2 of Hefeklumpen's heroes, and you've got the steel reinforcements to slow it down, and you're 5v3ing the other 2 lanes.
Yep. The strafing run comes out. That does 2 damage to each enemy creep, so we
Yep.
see those taken down a little bit lower.
Very powerful strafing run, but he doesn't have follow-up. They're not going to be wiped on this board at all.
Yep. And unfortunately, no piercing damage from Zeus's passive either to take down any stragglers.
Yep, Melo's thinking here about the Marrowfell Brawler. At the same time, again, this mid lane isn't Melo's concern.
Right.
This mid lane is one. Both players are kind of eyeing this right lane because Yoel has already won left. Melo has kind of already won mid for the most part. And both of them are really looking at this right lane and thinking, okay, this is what my opponent's going to play for. This is what I'm going to play for. This is what's going to decide the game.
Yep. He does summon the beast here, though, just pushing for a little bit of extra damage. And puts the Traveler's Cloak on Prelix for 4 extra health.
Yep.
Keeping her alive is good so that her passive always procs.
And saving this Marrowfell for this lane, I gotta say, I love this.
Yep.
Right in front of the wolf is where you want it. Of course, it's where you have to
616.
put
That's
it.
a beefy guy.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He's like a hero.
Yep. This is a great drop to come down. And if you're Melo, you're not feeling too bad about this. This Thunder God's Wrath, though, is going to wipe up this board. That will kill 3 heroes immediately. And there's nothing Melo can do about that right now.
Look at these heroes left and heroes mid. Is this a single player game? Are they gonna fight each other or what?
Yeah, very aggressive like lane sacrificing here going on, which I think I really like in draft. I think good players will do that very often. I mean, at this point, Melo is hoping to God Hefeklumpen does not draw the second Thunder God's Wrath right now, because the Satyr Magician allows him to cast both. This will kill 4 heroes instead of 3. Doesn't draw it. Thunder God's Wrath is going to come out, kill 3 heroes immediately.
Well, there is a chance with Ogre, that 25% chance.
Do it. Here
Does
it
it?
is.
Yep.
Beastmaster dies. Prelix survives, but 2 heroes on the right lane, Mazzy and Jamoy, also eat it. Ogre 25%.
Does he do it?
Takes the whiff.
Nope.
He's got the Keenfolk Musket to push the creep out, and you can really threaten this tower off of that, but you don't have another Thunder Gods. This is good for Melo. Melo is still in this.
Do you cast the dimensional portal here and then to kill the tower this turn?
You have the ability to do that. It would represent enough damage. So the question is, you have to ask yourself, how likely are you to kind of make killing the Ancient your win condition? And the answer is, it pretty much won't happen.
Oh, he didn't do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
He decides to TP Farvin out instead, which I like because that opens up for the lane where he wants to put some more green cards down.
Yep.
So he has all those green cards. He has a Thunderhide pack. He probably wants that on the 3rd lane, right?
Yeah.
So he'll probably deploy to the right side, I guess.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I love this. I think the idea of trying to go for an Ancient kill, especially against a Steel Reinforcements, probably just won't work out. So I really like holding onto the D portal there.
These
Plus,
are
he can
some
save it for this lane. Now
big
if he
guys.
chooses. Does do that. Throws down the Dimensional Portal and saves his tower from some damage from this Marrowfell Brawler.
We'll keep it in there. Keenfolk Musket just starts putting a little bit of extra pressure out on this Fen. Both players have expended their options. Melo can use a Cloak or a Salve. He's got to keep his Fen out of Thunder God's range. He's looking at that now. Okay, outside of Thunder God's range, safely. But Yoel still needs to draw it.
That's true. He has 5 more coming. He's only drawn 1.
Yeah. As we can see, Thunder Gods is just a very, very scary tool. He's actually overriding the Keenfolk Musket with his Stonehall Pike there. So this is an interesting play. In Artifact, you can't equip items of the same slot on top of each other. So if you want to play something else, you have to override your last item. So he loses the Keenfolk Musket forever.
No more gun, huh?
No more gun.
No more
Replaced
gun.
with a sword.
He's chosen to go with the sword over the gun.
And this is good for Sven, too, because his cleave ability is half of his current attack. And if this Stonehall Pike is going to keep gaining attack each combat phase, that's going to be more and more cleave. Still, though, who would you say the game is favoring right now?
It's still favoring Yoel.
Yoel,
As
yeah.
we mentioned before, Yoel has a very scary deck. He's got his hand. He's got the Thunderhide pack in his hand. That's what he wants. He can still draw into the Thunder God's Wrath at any point, which will immediately kill off the Prelix mid, threaten the Sven right, and potentially clone itself with Ogre.
Do you think there's a chance that Melo can kill the middle lane 80 before
Yes.
before Yoel kills the right?
At this point, that is Melo's win condition. Yoel's hand has no way to stop a big lane that goes wide. You can see we're actually dealing 20 damage here. So Melo, I think at this point, is realizing that, and he's going to have to start putting out some pressure. You can use Potion Knowledge, hopefully draw into something proactive, but you won't be able to here.
He gets that Fractured Timeline, which is an improvement, which you can play to any other lane. And before the action play phase, it gives a random card in the opponent's hand with +1 lock, which prevents them from playing it.
Lock is just, you just can't play the card.
Yep.
As you mentioned, Hoppit, you're completely correct. Melo needs to win this middle lane because right is a stonewall. So if you're Melo, your 2 things are defend right, push mid, and then thirdly, cross your fingers and hope
I mean,
he
this
doesn't draw
seems
Thunder
doable.
Gods.
What if he has 3 heroes coming in?
Yes.
Yoel only has 1.
Yes. And
And-
Yoel has no answer to that middle lane.
Yes. Well, I guess Melo doesn't know that. He doesn't know that Yoel does not have Thunder Gods or double Thunder Gods or whatever with the Zeus coming
Yes.
in, right? So
But there it is. I mean, this is scary. So you've got double deployment Melo next turn, and this game is going to be largely decided by these Primal Roars. There's the first one coming in. Farvran going left
Ooh,
open
that's
a little bit.
that's good for
Melo?
Yoel, right?
It's good for Yoel,
Is it?
yes.
Oh,
He
no.
wants the Farvran
Because
mid.
the Farvan's now mid and he can cast stuff.
Yes. If the Farvran had gone left, that would have been useless for Yoel instead,
Yeah.
because pushing left is less important than just developing more defense mid.
Do you think that was a correct roar though?
I think it was. It was probably necessary at the time, just like keeping your stuff alive, keeping your blockers there.
And just something to point out, he stunned the green hero and he pushed the other green
Yes.
hero to a lane, which means he can't cast green spells.
Yeah. At the same
This
time,
turn.
though, the
already
Thunderhide
spent his
pack,
mana,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so.
It was already dropped. So
But that's
we're-
just something you can think about when you're trying to look at why they're doing things.
We're gonna have to see Melo triple deploy right here. You gotta do it. You've got red with Primal Roar in front of the Thunderhide could do it. You've also got your Friendly Fire.
Melo's looking to save that right lane instead. Not going for that win condition we were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
with the
Wait, so
mid
why
lane.
wouldn't
Well,
he put them all mid?
So you basically have to go all right because
Otherwise-
there's no way to threaten taking mid in one turn. You've got to play defensive here.
You can
The
do
wi-
55. Come on.
55?
The thing about Melo's hand is it's a reactive defensive hand. You've got Roar, Tower Barrage, Friendly Fire, all like stall cards that don't push enough damage. So Melo just has to buy enough time for his middle lane here. And Yoel doesn't have board clear. This middle lane is inevitable. If Melo just buys more time right, he's got it. He has initiative now.
He's going to put a barracks down in that last lane. He knows he wants to try to block as much damage as he can. But again, with that Thunderhide pack, that's doing 6 siege. So even though the tower is at 7 and that Thunderhide is blocked, that siege is going through that creep and still doing that
And
damage.
the Primal Roar can't touch Thunderhide pack because it's not adjacent to one of the red heroes that Melo has on the board.
Yeah, so it's done a unit that is blocking an allied hero, so like the Lycan, and it pushes the things that are next to them.
yes.
So like the thing that's next to Lycan on the right, the creep.
Exactly. And that's definitely a concern for Melo. These aren't the spawn positions you wanted if you're him. You do have Friendly Fire. You can smash Yoel's Dinosaur into another one of Yoel's units, but it won't trade very well with anything.
You can also roar the Zeus, right?
Yes. That's true as well. Try to block him out of playing scary blue spells. But we can see Yoel's hand, and it's all green all the way down except for Satyr Magician.
He did talk about that he went green heavy, right, in his deck, perhaps even more than blue.
Exactly.
Even though he has 3 blue heroes.
What's the glowing things on the Jamoy and the...
So these, if the square on the hero is glowing, that means that you have the ability to activate that hero power. So for Beastmaster, it's the Call of the Wild that summons that 3/1/3 Loyal Beast. And for Jamoy, lo and behold, oh my goodness, active 4 to
Every
draw a
4
card.
turns, you can draw 1 card.
Truly
Excellent.
the
Yeah.
most powerful power.
Yeah. So Melo takes the friendly fire, makes Yoel's 2 heroes attack each other. This puts Lycan into kill range, which is what you want. And Yoel's just setting up a wall. He's saying, you might take my mid tower, but you are not taking my right tower. At this point, the 6 siege damage on the Thunderhide pack is putting Melo down to 1 tower health on this lane. Melo still needs to survive 1 more turn.
Yep.
He needs to be able to roar this Thunderhide pack, and the positioning is just not letting him.
Ooh, everything with the X.
Yep.
This
So
is,
that wall is suddenly gone. But
That's
that
big.
Thunderhide is still there.
That's big. The
It is
condition of
big.
this game has just taken a turn. Heffalumpen has lost 2 heroes. Melo is now looking for a tie on right lane. If he can threaten enough damage, the Thunderhide will kill him, but he can kill Yoel at the same turn. I don't think Melo has enough damage to punch through mid. And Melo has enough damage to punch through mid, and Yoel has 2 heroes there to stop him.
Yep, and
But
he has some creeps too to block some damage.
Melo
wait,
might
wait,
have the
wait.
tie on right lane here.
So a tie is when both things
players'
die at the
seconds
same time.
towers die
Yeah.
on the
So
same
there's-
exact moment.
so
And that's
that-
what's happening here.
So that Thunderhide on the right side has Siege. He's gonna, doesn't matter if he's blocked, he's gonna hit the tower, which is at 1 health. Okay.
Can we look at
Yeah.
right lane real quick? This is
And
what
again,
it's going to come down to.
this is the ancient, for those of you
Oh.
who don't remember. But that's going from 80 health. So both heroes, or both players already have 1 tower taken.
So what happens
So-
when there's a tie?
In the Swiss, it depends like on the tournament rules, but typically you get basically like half a win for a tie.
I
or
see.
1 point instead of 3. So this is actually a really, really unfortunate alignment for Melo. It looks like there's no way for him to get this dinosaur off the board. If there was another creep there, you could combo Battlefield Control to try to like angle your roar.
Swim, it's a Thunderhide pack, okay? It's more than 1 dinosaur. Show it the respect it deserves.
Dinosaurs. There is an alpha.
If he could somehow kill his own Jamoy, if there was any way for him to kill his own Jamoy,
Ooh.
Yep.
Yep.
You'll just does the tower barrage to, shorten this lane a little bit,
Yoel
but
knows this lane doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't
all
really
coming
matter.
down to right. This is both players' second tower to go, and I don't see any way
There's no
Melo's
way.
hand can affect this. Yoel has no units on this lane.
yep.
And they will need a place to stay.
It's just going to come down to a tie, especially since Yol has no heroes in this lane. He's unable to play any of these cards anyways.
Very unfortunate hand by Melo. If you have a town portal scroll, so for example, what you can do is if you have like a second blue hero and a town portal scroll, you can like take your Jamoy out of here, and he's just getting enough magic. End the game stylishly in a tie.
Ooh. Never seen that yet.
Yeah.
Our first tie.
That's our first tie.
Yep.
So they're just gonna draw.
That's right.
He's not happy about that draw.
No, Yoel didn't really find the cards he was looking for in that game. He
Yeah.
found only 1 Thunder God's Wrath.
Was not like the first game where he
Yeah.
managed to draw, I think, 3 on the
That Lycan's like, a tie? He's pissed. He's right behind him. He's
Lycan
like,
is
what?
in his deck too, right? He's like, I can't believe you've
Yeah,
failed
you
me.
tied.
Yep. So we will be going to game 3 after that. Melo got exactly what he was looking for, and we saw like the kind of the win conditions of the game like shifted up there in those last few turns. I really like how Melo just like identified that his new condition was not to try to win the game anymore, but to tie it. Punch through the right lane.
Yep.
And that's just what you have to do in Artifact. You have to be very, very fluid, which like which lane is.
Bro,
gonna
can I have
be-
some water? Why do you have 2 cups?
Dude, I drink a lot of water here.
You-
Would you like some?
Yeah.
He's hogging all the water. All right, so yeah, we're gonna go to a third game then. Melo versus.
So Melo's looking for a
Yol.
1-1-1 or 1-0-1.
Basically, at this point, that's what Melo's
best he
looking
can
for
do.
here. If you take the win, then it will be a 1-1-1, a drawn series.
Which one of these guys do you think has the best posture? when they're playing? We can analyze that right now.
I gotta say, it's hard to see Hyped's posture, but out
He's
of the
leaning back, I think.
okay,
Yeah.
I think Hyped might have the best posture. It's pretty close between Hyped and Life Coach, but
Ooh,
we're getting
that's
into
a-
this game here.
That's a bad luck on the first
First
Yeah,
lane here,
spawning
Zeus
Mazzy into a
is...
hero is what you want.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Zeus
And
into Mazzy's, he doesn't even do anything to him.
And then the Beastmaster into the Farvan as well is very favorable. Melo's got a good flop here. He's off to a good start.
Yep, this early game, there's not much you can do to really save your heroes. But again, hero deaths aren't the end of the world. Like you mentioned, it's also nice to have those heroes come out at those key turns, which for Zeus, it's typically 7 mana.
Exactly. I think that a lot of things that like new players in Artifact, I know all of us did this. Like when you first get into the game, you kind of overvalue hero deaths until you realize, you know, you have flexibility. You
He's
can-
doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing, yep. 3 armor, 3 damage, 0.
By the way, Lumi's next to me on the couch now. Lumi, what'd you learn from out there?
Nothing.
You learned nothing?
I just want to say Melo and Yo Larsson, they're good friends.
Oh, yeah,
They're
they
just
are.
like, this is team kill right now. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. No, I
They
mentioned that
practice
earlier.
together?
Yeah, they practice together, they play together. It's always really sad when you play your friends against Swiss because you want you and
Yeah.
Wanna
your
both
friend
do
to
well.
be top
So
18.
he just did a really
This-
cool spell. What does this
Steel
do?
Strength is great.
Steel Strength. So until the end of that round, so it's not a modification, he stole 4 strength in order to give Lycan that extra 8 damage, or sorry, extra 4 damage to push him to 8. And
So
then
he killed the
take lethal.
Beastmaster while keeping the Lycan alive.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's sort of like a combat trick. You can kind of use it before their combat and just like modify your attack higher and their attack lower.
And that mid board, if you click view board, that mid board with the Lycan in the middle of the 2 creeps is exactly what you want because the Lycan gives +2 attack to everything next to him, and so those 2 creeps are just doing extra damage to the
It's
tower.
absolutely what you want. So
Yeah.
like if you look at these boards, Yoel is kind of winning both mid and right, and Melo's only winning left. And of course, you want to be the player
Yeah.
winning 2 out of 3.
And you want to be the player winning in the beginning of the game against a blue deck because those Thunder God's
Exactly.
Wraths are coming.
Yeah.
It's just he knows, you know, like he's gonna at least cast 1 or 2.
I will say that Steel Strength mid was really, really crucial for Yoel. Like that completely turned how mid board was going, like 180.
Yep, and Beastmaster usually a pretty healthy hero at 12. Pretty hard for blue and green to take him down, but Steel Strength just giving him just enough. So in this lane here, it's just a Lonely Ogre. It will be a pretty neat remote detonation if he gets to turn.
Ooh. But maybe the counterplay,
Yeah.
the Town Portal Skull from Melo, keeping his Prelix alive next turn, should the remote detonation drop. And I think that's absolutely what you're looking for here if
Yep.
you're Yoel. Melo sees it coming. Not even going to bother using Keen Folk on Ogre, because he knows if the remote detonation drops, that will be kind of the end of that lane.
Yep. Here too, he's going to put the Keen Fold Musket on Lycan.
Yep, and that will
And that's
clean up this
gonna-
Jamoy very nicely.
Yep. Although unfortunately Lycan will be dying as well, but he could choose to juke.
Is he gonna try to save his hero, or is he gonna kill this hero too?
That's a good question. It does kind of come down to whether he feels like he's better stalling. I think the better play here is to probably just take the pass and take the trade. But at the same time, keeping Lycan's aura alive is pretty powerful as well.
If
The
he
thing-
jukes left, he will do extra damage to the tower too, right?
Yes. The biggest problem with Juke, though, if you look at these creeps on the right side, the creep that has 4 attack has that because of Lycan's aura. So
Oh,
if you take the
yeah.
Juke to save Lycan, you're also saving the opponent's creep.
Yep, so he does do the trade.
And you can preserve the Juke here as well. This is not a good board state for Melo's Red Mist Pillager in hand. If you look at that card, ooh, he's going to play it anyway. Going to open up
Yeah,
a
because
slot
it doesn't
here.
die.
Yes.
But juke.
But juke.
Yep, Juke could swap the melee creep with the Prowler Vanguard. But he's going to compel instead to achieve the same thing.
And he
you-
gets to draw a card.
You've got Yoel sitting on 3 Thunder God's Wraths already.
Oof.
Man. That is going to be just
Melo's on a
completely
clock.
Devastating.
Yep.
Yes. And Melo, for being on a clock, is not looking too good. I mean, he's got left lane completely won, but the other 2 are both at 40 health. And winning 1 lane is not enough in this game.
You gotta all in the left lane, dude. That's what I would do.
I think you might have to at this point. Like, it's very, very difficult to do.
He's
these
trying for
others.
mid.
He has the initiative.
Does he
so
have the left lane one though? Because
As we talked about, the remote detonation.
Remote
he's dropping.
detonation.
Remote detonation.
This is the 6 mana turn. He does have initiative.
5
but
damage
he has no
each.
way of stopping this ogre spell. He needs to draw something that will stop the ogre.
he's gonna
from
kill
casting.
everything.
There's nothing that will stop this.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's very, very unfortunate for Melo.
Yo,
Very
he's gonna
tasty.
multicast it. I feel it, dude.
And here come the barrels rolling in. This remote detonation clears up the board so nicely. Unfortunately, this
Does
tower
not.
is still being lost.
Yep.
What's he thinking about, dude?
There it is.
Here
the
they
mines
come.
coming in. Doesn't kill off Mazzy.
That is
And he
very,
doesn't
very
multicast it.
effective. So this tower is still
What's wrong
lost.
with his ogre? Can we check that ogre?
25%
Check the ogre.
chance.
Is it working?
What's
What's wrong with him?
Yeah, the multicast doesn't trigger, but each creep that died gave Yol 1 gold.
So I
as
like
well.
this Traveler's Cloak
Mhm.
by Melo, or sorry, by Yoel. Very important, just keeping your stuff healthy out of like friendly fire range, basically. Just playing around opponent removal options in the future.
Ooh, this is gonna hurt next turn, guys.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Next
mean,
turn's gonna hurt.
it could be a triple.
4 Thunder God Wrath. Oh,
And Jamoy's respawning right into it. Look at that deployment in the upper left.
that guy's dead. All right, you talk about being dead before you're born. That's that guy.
Yep,
He's coming in and he's just.
feels bad.
It's quite funny. It shows like how death is like not always a bad thing in this game. Like Yoel is incentivized not to kill any of Melo's heroes this turn because they're all dying next turn if they're not already dead.
So does he cast the ignite here?
Into this lane?
Yeah.
I think there's no reason not to. You can cast it either here or push it forward into the right lane, but here's probably the better place for it.
It's going to swap over the Zeus to do some extra damage onto the Prelix.
So welcoming hyped to the couch.
And look at that one for me on that red mist maul,
Oh,
right
yes.
onto the Zeus, killing the Prelix and dealing
Thank
just a
you
little
very
bit of
much.
siege damage.
So
Red
you already
Mist Mall's
done?
actually
You're done with
huge.
your round?
Yeah, I cleaned it up pretty quick. Just as a second
wow.
turn,
Okay,
guys.
all right.
It was actually extremely close. I had my tower at 1 with the tree buckets in play, so it's pretty close.
What's the tree buckets?
It's a
Trebuchets.
No, I took French in high school.
Trebuchet.
It's actually tree buckets.
Tree
so
buckets.
That's what people are calling it.
It's kind of like how you guys pronounce
cup
coup
de
de grace
grace.
wrong. Yeah.
Cup the Bra.
Coup de grace.
But yeah, how are we doing here? Is this game 2? or one?
This is looking pretty bad for Melo. Look
Yep.
at
Yeah.
Yoel's hand right
Guys,
now.
if you're
I like
if you're
his
just
hands.
tuning in, that is not a glitch. He has 4 Thunder God's Wrath, and it's about to be turn 7,
This
and
is-
all his blue heroes are alive.
Yeah, one blue hero
Um,
on each lane.
Things are.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
this is
But he
with
doesn't have
potential to get
initiative.
more with that ogre.
Yeah.
He can't put Lycan left. That opens up Primal Roar with Melo's initiative.
Yeah, he
Yoel,
chooses not
Yoel
to.
is very lucky.
Too
Creep
smart.
Swamp didn't have him left.
Yep.
Too smart for the roar.
That roar again would stun the unit that blocks.
but
Mazzy.
Yo,
He
that
curved into it.
arrow,
That
bro.
enables the roar to stun the
Ooh.
ogre.
Would he use the roar here though?
I mean, it stops one of the Thunder Gods, and then you just have to deal with the
He
other
doesn't
two.
know. He doesn't have the info that we have though.
Yeah.
At the same
it's turn
time,
7,
if
and you
there
have-
are 6, you can very much assume there's at least one in hand.
yeah,
But don't you think he wants to save it for the other lanes? Like a lot of
think you
stuff
do
is
have
happening
to
on the
save
other
it.
lanes.
Yeah.
looks like that's
Puts the
what's
steel
happening.
reinforcement instead
Yeah.
in
I
the
I think
last
that's
lane.
right. Here we
Well,
go.
here
Thunder
we go.
Gods number
That
1.
one's dead.
Mazzy's
1
down.
of 4.
Prelix is
Prelix
down.
dead. Sven's
Sven's
alive.
almost dead.
Not for long.
And now Melo has initiative, but what can he do with it in the middle lane?
The middle lane, he
Dude,
does
that
have
that
friendly fire.
Beastmaster's gonna die too, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and when you include the Zeus set.
yeah. Because the Zeus is passive. It does a damage when he casts a spell. So when he casts Thunder Gods, that deals 4.
Oh,
the
plus the
passive
Ignite's in
plus
play.
1. Oh, and the Ignite,
Oh,
yeah. So
yes. There's
So-
no way he can stop the Zeus from casting that Thunder
Melo's
Gods.
best play with initiative is to jam a Stonehall Cloak on one of his 2
Yikes.
units to try to keep it alive. That's pretty much the only thing you can do with initiative here.
draw the card.
Do you
Draw the
wanna-
card before he dies.
They're both gonna die.
Yeah,
if he
he's gonna
doesn't
die.
do
He's
that.
just like, take this
Please.
before I die.
You got a Stonehall. I like it on Jamoy.
Yeah.
Ooh, he takes on
Puts it on.
Okay,
Beastmaster.
so the Beastmaster will live.
If a unit
at least
spawns
for now.
between these 2 heroes next turn, good Primal Roar.
Dude, this is what happens when you have 2 Zeus.
Yeah. This
Oh
is-
my
this
god.
is very disgusting. So Beastmaster, the sole survivor on Melo's side. It
Zeus
will
is,
stay alive here.
Zeus is a late game hero.
He could also choose to use the Kingfolk Musket on Beastmaster, and then Beast will
This
be
is a
dead with the Ignite.
Red Mist Maul,
Unfortunately,
right?
though, the Stonehall
Yeah.
Cloak will
Oh,
keep
that's
it
right, the
alive because
Stonehall
that will
Cloak.
trigger and give it 2 health every time it survives.
But he's essentially going to get the beginning of turn kill anyways with
Yep.
the Thunder Gods.
Yes.
He will shoot the Beast, though, and then that will die to the Ignite.
So this is looking real good for our boy Joel.
This
Yep.
is looking very good. I
oh,
mean,
he just
Joel.
fires the third one.
You don't care.
You guys remember when Joel came up here? All like, yeah, my draft was kind of okay.
Right. 2 Zeuses.
Yeah, it's all right.
Green heavy.
See all that -1 on the top left? Yeah, they're not coming back next turn.
Yeah.
They
No, no,
they
no.
are they
4
are
heroes
dead
down.
for a while.
This is a
and
team kill.
Yeah, he just has just a lot of time to do damage to the towers however he wants. That Beastmaster's also dead.
Yep, with the Ignite.
Um,
So there's going to be
Oof.
no heroes for Melo in the next turn.
Yes.
if you were Melo, would you concede here, hyped?
Unless you have something crazy in your deck like a Vesture. But with Primal Roar, can kind of dig you out
Hey,
of anything.
Though,
But-
keep in mind,
But
he
it's-
only
yeah.
needs
Die.
10 damage mid, guys. Look at the mid tower. If that creep had spawned right in front of the Beastmaster, he has initiative, he has the Roar, and if he draws something that pushes any amount of damage with 1 mana, that's enough.
He dead, though.
He can
Oh
still,
my God.
he can still draw once.
He dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
he
dead.
dead. He dead.
Oh,
Oh,
Taking
doesn't
a
even need
Portal
it. He's going to
Scroll.
do it in style. The Ignite's going to finish him off.
Yeah, that's true.
Bye.
Man, there is just, it's so close. All you needed was 10 more damage here. Even after all that. Very, very efficient damage dealing by Melo, but it just wasn't enough on the reach.
got 4 heroes coming in next turn. So,
Yep.
what are the odds here, guys?
4 heroes coming out. Well, it looks like Yol's not going to be able to take the mid tower. At
I
least
mean,
not this turn.
Initiative is crucial.
Yep.
Yol just needs initiative, jam 2 red heroes mid, get a good Primal Roar alignment. I mean, if he can just get a Roar that gives him the punch through on this tower, he can win. Because keep in mind, Yoel has the hero kills, the Thunder God's Wrath, but he's not really dealing that much damage. He still is only about to take his first tower on the right lane.
That is true.
Do you agree with that TP?
Actually, don't.
Why
Yeah.
can't you TP on
So-
the right?
Yeah, here's the thing. I think he realized after he did it, or I don't want to give him some respect, but since he didn't use his mana in the first lane, he could have Thunder Gods with the Ogre, chance to multicast, and then the third lane he could have developed a creep and then TP'd the Farvin out, because his tower would
Yeah.
have been dead, and then he would have been able to develop creeps in the first lane, and he would have had pressure in 1 and 2. But it's still looking okay. And plus, I think the TP, I think he's going to end up putting the Ogre back in the first lane to be able to Thunder Gods.
Melo has a bit of a win condition here. I mean, he needs to get a very, very good Roar mid next turn. He's got 1 chance to win this game.
Wait,
Yeah.
he plays the wolf, right? And the Maul.
Yeah, no, he's still off, but he's very close.
Yeah. It looks
That
like
wolf
this
is going to be able to
this
get
win
+1
could
attack.
turn
So
into a
actually-
tie.
Yeah, it could be very well be a tie. With the
Another
Ogre.
tie?
Ties are fun.
And if there's a tie, we're just going into the next round, right? We're not they're not playing again.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Mhm.
But Yoel will effectively win the series because it's 2 ties and a win.
All right, 4 heroes coming out for Melo. Where are these
Pushing
heroes going to
knowledge.
go?
They all going
All going
going
to
mid.
the-
Jam them mid. You've
Mid.
got to reach
Mhm.
for
Ooh,
just
bad
that
creep.
extra 10 damage.
Yeah, Yoel kind of wanted to creep in the middles. Maybe he wanted to put the Ogre there to guarantee someone doesn't get roared, but with the placement, it's possible
So
that all 3 get
The
disabled.
Ogre is going left to kill off the Prelix right away. This Prelix is hitting the board dead. It immediately takes 4 to Thunder Gods and 1 to the Ignite mid.
He dead before he could do anything.
Yeah. And that is just like what you get sometimes for running Prelix. Very squishy hero.
So he's gonna potion first, right?
Yep, potion
Yeah, no
can
reason
draw a
not to
card.
here.
Thunder God's coming down.
Don't want to play it here, otherwise he won't have enough mana for the Thunder Gods.
Yeah, he
So
could hit
Prelix
his
eats
satyrs,
it.
though. He has 2 satyrs,
That's
but
true.
it's very risky.
Mm-hmm.
Melo does have still 3 heroes remaining mid. These 3 heroes need to be able to punch through Primal Roar and win the game, but the spawns are not there for Primal Roar. Does he have a friendly fire? Not really. It's looking very bad for Melo here.
So Primal Roar is a really interesting card. It's a bit of an RNG with the positioning, but it's interesting that if you're ahead, you can control the positioning, and you can control when you roar.
Oh,
But if you're behind,
I guess.
Doesn't matter. I mean, he's not gonna
Yeah.
get through all those anyway, right?
it's a great chance to win from behind, though, is what I'll say about Primal Roar.
Prelix eats it. Melo's got 1 play before his 2 other heroes die to Thunder God's Wrath as well.
So he can Primal Roar in this direction, but that's not stopping the damage.
Friendly fire kills off the
Okay.
Zeus. This stops blue casting. Thunder Gods won't be hitting the board. He just needs 4 more damage here.
He needs to block 4.
Yeah, he's that compel,
Or
if nothing
deal 4.
else, and he can draw off the Jamoy.
Dude, did he do it?
I mean,
Mm,
Melo
no, I
has... So Yoel has here the Vul Martyr and the Champion of Ancient to chump, which is a really big deal. Because that will block. Here it is, blocking the Marifel Brawler here.
Mhm.
And Melo has a really hard time punching through this. He's got to block it. That's his only chance.
So Melo needs to hold. Yes, he actually has the
Draws a
ventriloquy
card.
and the battlefield control, so I think he can actually block both.
But I think Melo
but he's got
really...
them all.
Melo needed to win this round because without it, I mean, the Thunder God's Wraths are inevitable. The second Thunder Gods off the Ogre will happen next turn.
Yeah, he doesn't know that he drew like 10 of them though.
So...
So
That's it?
he knows there's one
This-
left.
Yeah, this is it for
Yep.
Melo. Takes the
All right,
loss.
our
So
boy
I can pass him.
won.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's what is he 2-0 now?
2-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hype your
Yola's
2-0.
I am as well. Yes.
Looking good. Let's try and get to top 8, okay?
I'm working on
Yep.
it. For just for you.
How's Life Coach doing? Do we know?
He's probably still in game 1. He's looking real slow.
Would not be surprised.
We could check out Life
Oh, you
Coach's
can watch
games
him here
here.
on- as a game
Alternatively,
deadline.
we could see what some of the other players are
Yeah,
doing.